All right. Welcome to Geoff and Jojo of ZedRun at the Virtual Being Summit. And we're in the wonderful Decentraland. And I'm very disoriented by the kind of somewhat giant man, getting some David Lynch vibes of like, why is the man just dancing in the corner behind us? But it's really nice to be here with you. He's a little worrying, right? I mean, what is he?
He's got some James Bond vibes as well. You know, he's definitely got the tuxedo.
This is quite an incredible pyramid, Geoff.
Oh,
the ZedRun pyramid. I am oh my God, look at these horses. They're so cute and intimidating. Oh my God, and they neigh. That's actually pretty good animations. Yeah, Jojo, should we run over? This is so cool. Wow. Very intimidating. I mean, I feel like really pharaonic. You know, we've got a real Egypt pharaoh vibe here. Very, very, very intimidating. Really proclaims the power of ZedRun. Well, first, why don't we just, if you guys, oh my God, a huge banana staring at the huge thing. It's very cool. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves for a moment, and then we can explore a bit, and you tell me as well, because this is your neck of the woods, Geoff, if there are places beyond just the pyramid. But yeah, maybe just say hello to the audience, and yeah, we've got questions galore, and also we'll have some fun exploring.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having us, Edward.
Yeah,
so I'm CTO and one of the co-founders at ZedRun.
Terrific.
And yeah, what you see before you is headquarters in Decentraland. We're obviously trying to make our mark around the whole of the metaverse. And
yeah, this is very cool.
And this one, yeah, we very much wanted it to stand out and catch everyone's eye. And if you look in there, you see some Ethereum crystals floating around as
oh yeah, I do notice that.
Representing.
Very beautiful, very nice homage to the great currency that powers it all.
But yeah, this is a recent addition. Obviously,
this pyramid.
This pyramid, we had a first open day about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. No. I appreciate the invite. Thanks a lot, guys. You guys were just having great fun, and I was alone at home. Very sad.
You'll be top of the VIP list for the next event, Edward.
All right, good, because I've gotten used to dancing in front of my web camera. Like I feel no shame about that now. Very, very happy.
Well, we can have a dance party in our headquarters in a minute. Just the few of us.
Hey, all right. Very, very good. Famous last words. Well, yeah, Jojo, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I look after our strategy and communications. And
terrific.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. All right. Well, I mean, I guess this is the moment. Geoff, should we run in?
Yeah. Do we dare? Yes.
All right. I'm going to hold down shift. Oh, no, that doesn't. Shift makes me go slower. Okay. Now I'm running. There we go. This is beautiful. But did you gasp? I love that. Americans don't gasp as much as the British do, I've noticed.
No, and I've seen this plenty of times before, and it's still
right. Like
makes me gasp.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my God, we've got some nice colored ones. Very good. Breathless Edge. So talk to me through some of these breathable NFTs and some of these. You know, I think of you guys as pushing really far into like the idea of the NFT living, probably the furthest of anyone. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Aletheia AI, who's been working on intelligent NFTs and kind of adding AI, so that they'll be speaking at the summit, or they're speaking at the summit as well. But I feel like this almost goes further, even though it's obviously we're not yet talking to the horses, although I'm sure that's very shortly in the roadmap. But you know, it's even more powerful because they have utility. Their lives are like important and meaningful, and like there are meaningful choices and outcomes. Like, so I've been super excited to talk with you about it because I think it's a really witty and cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are some of the legends which have already established themselves within the ZedRun ecosystem. The reason for that is, they've had some really great success in their races. And so if you check the stats out under each of them, you've got their win rate, and a win rate of 24.5% is incredible. And that's over quite an extensive career. So that's 160 wins. And Ducky Malone is very much infamous within the space, and he sits within the Doofy Racing stable. And Doofy Racing is one of the most established content creators in the space. So he has his own YouTube channel, and he talks about how he's established his stable, and he provides tips and on
so
how
Doofy
people can grow their stable.
is a person who like owns the stables of which Ducky is a part.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Doofy also creates content, sort of, where he's talking through his stable and how they're doing and the wins and the excitement and all of that, which separately like builds an audience. And there's almost like a decentralized element where it's as if a Formula One owner was like also creating their own content around it. That's super interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he's been a huge part of the community so far. And he's also a master breeder. So he's, as well as, building the career of these horses, specifically Ducky Malone, which is obviously his best horse there at the moment. He goes out and he breeds, and then he sells into the community, but he also runs competitions where he gives his horses away to bring more people into the community. And so he's very much been pivotal in that.
Well, now this fulfills a childhood dream, I'll tell you, Geoff, because as a small child, me and my brother were presented once with a situation where our parents, brought us out and said, look, we've got an amazing surprise for you. And obviously me and my brother weren't sure that this was the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And instead, they showed us photographs of two horses. And we were just like, what the hell is this? Where are our Super Nintendos? We don't want horses. And they were like, no, we built this like physical stable, and you're going to like go and not race them. You're going to go and like ride the horses around. And we were like, are you completely crazy? Like, what about Super Nintendo? So you've now united, into form the digital and the physical. So that 10-year-old self is like, now I get it. My parents had presented me with a photograph of a digital horse that I could play games with. That would have changed everything. I wouldn't have, I'd never have had to leave my room and my screens and everything.
We are very much about changing horse racing for future generations so that they don't suffer that same fate.
Ignominy, right, exactly, of having to go to Ascot or something.
And
where is the ZedRun Ascot, out of interest? I mean, come on, like with crazy hat and like impossible digital fashion and all of that.
Yeah, well, there are some potential upcoming events which
you can't say anything, but you're in touch with the Queen. Things are, some partnerships are coming through very quickly.
Oh yeah,
she's an obsessive player because she can't go out as much with the horses, and now she's just gone nuts breeding these horses. I mean, so one question I had as a person thinking about ZedRun as more of a consumer was like, so how long do the horses live? Because breeding to me means that they must die or they don't die, or like I'm trying to create. Does Ducky have like multiple sires, or like I don't know, how does all that work?
Great question. They don't die. And again,
so you would have many. So you would have many great horses simultaneously, kind of.
Yeah, but as we move the ecosystem forward, we would like to establish more champions within that. But that comes down to the breeding strategies and the breeding science that stable owners adopt to build future champions.
Well, now why? I guess do they age, or like why would you not just have one? Why would you not just keep Ducky until the end of time? Because Ducky's like such a killer. Like why, why do you breed? I guess
You breed
I
to,
assume breeding is about replacing the
yeah,
horse who's getting old and in real life. But if they don't die, then am I breeding them, or do they age and get worse over time? Like how does that kind of work?
there's no aging. It's
Mm,
as we, and there's no decay.
mm,
Um, I guess if you know, we look back to your childhood self and
mm.
real
Yes, thank you.
horses, it would be quite disappointing if
Mm.
they, at the point they die. I mean,
Very
very
disappointing. You just
disappointing.
spend a huge amount of money on these ponies. We
And
want to get everything out of them we can.
and yeah, that's exactly it. This is, you know, these horses for the stable owners,
Mm,
they have made an investment here, and
mm. Interesting.
so we're looking to maintain that. Now, as the breeding science matures, there will
Mm,
definitely be the opportunity to knock Ducky Malone off his
mm.
throne.
Got it. Okay. So maybe you're saying through good breeding, that's how you might take out a kind of champion and create like a new bar, I guess, for like how good a horse can get.
Exactly. You know, in the
That makes sense.
in the 100-meter sprint, we still have
Mm,
people breaking the times there, right?
mm. Super interesting. Um, well, should we keep walking around a little bit, and then I've got more questions to come. I mean,
Absolutely.
all right. Out of these six, which is your favorite horse? Are you allowed to like choose? Is it probably like your children?
Oh, that's
Like,
extremely
probably
controversial.
can't do it. And there's probably billions of dollars would be moving based on what you say. People would be like, "Oh my god, he said it. Oh my god, it was billions."
Yeah.
He said billions. It's the best. You know, $8
And here we
billion
are.
has wiped off the value of these other ones or something. Okay, so I won't make you choose, but these are pretty cool. All right, who's the oldest? Who's the, I guess there's no decay, but who's the longest running champion of these
Oh,
six?
good. I don't actually know who's the oldest. I think
Is Gen the number that we're mostly looking for?
yeah. So
GEN?
Z1
Mm,
is
Z1, yeah.
like the top generation, and so
Mm,
they're most likely to be, you know, the top horses, and it's going to be hard to beat them. But we do have you know, for example, we've got Wildcat over here, who's a Z3, who has
mm. Who's
firmly
come up? I mean, done brilliant. Oh my
established
god! And
themselves.
Ducky was Z4. I think
Yeah,
Ducky has the highest win rate, right? I mean, I'm just running around. I mean, this is also engaging another part of my childhood mind of like, comparing stats and all of that. But yeah, I mean, it looks like Ducky's number one with win rate. Should I be looking at win rate, or because a Z1 will have a different win rate because they've been around for longer? Is that right?
um, it all depends, because a lot of this is down to the stable owner and how they choose to race it, and their strategy
Oh, I
that they
see.
adopt. Um, Now, some of these horses are less predictable, but they have,
Mm,
in their unpredictability, they'll have some pretty
mm,
amazing wins, but then they'll have
mm,
some disappointing losses. And then there's
mm,
more stable, consistent horses, which uh, they're you know, they don't lose so often, but they also don't win as much. They're more places.
mm.
Um, and so then, with keeping that in mind, different stable owners will adopt a different strategy for how they approach the game.
Would a strategy might include like only racing in certain races that they think the horse is best suited for, or like maybe talk a little bit about what you've seen for strategies that have just kind of
Yeah,
piqued
yeah.
your interest or seem like, oh, that's a good idea for how to like run a stable. Like, I don't know how, as someone who did not take the opportunity that was presented, I did not start a stable and all of that, but I've often dreamed of it. I now love horse riding.
You can now. And
Yeah.
yeah, if we were to dig into these stats a bit more, what you will see is that they will be racing at different distances. So each horse is either better at short, mid, or long. Yet that's not clear initially. So it's up to the stable owner
Got it.
to
That's interesting.
figure that out. And some figure it out quicker than others.
And what's the stuff? There's the Kentucky Derby, and then what's the British one that I've definitely bet on horses in the UK, and they have those fabulous names and everything. What are the like? What are the IRL famous like horse races? Or are you like me? You're kind of on the digital world.
I'm very much in the digital world, but I mean that there is obviously the Royal Ascot,
Yeah,
which
that's the
we
thing
are
I must
familiar
have bet
with.
on. And
Then
an announcement may or may not be coming with the Queen's HRH's approval.
She's got a horse if she wants one.
There you go. You could be like BitClout. You could kind of create some digital versions of her horses and let her claim them once she's ready.
We do have a few celebrity Z horse owners, Z race horse owners.
Interesting. Any you can mention?
I believe Mike Tyson has one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's pretty awesome.
And
super cool. Yeah, should we walk up here and kind of take a look at from a different perspective? This is so cool, man.
Yeah, let's have a look.
I feel like I'm just seeing the remnant of this party that I wasn't invited to, and I'm just imagining all the great times that I would have had, and all the cool people I would have met. Like it's terrible. Next time.
Yeah,
this is cool. So these are the jockeys.
Well, that was a concept. We don't have jockeys.
I know. I was thinking you don't have jockeys, but I was like, good idea though. Kind of interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, we were definitely in the early days. Putting some concepts together, and this is one of those concepts.
That's so cool. And you decided, I mean, what do you think about for the future? Do you think it's just, I mean, it's obviously a logical whole other market that could interact, but I can see why it might kill the purity of it right now. Like, how do you think about it?
Yeah, we talked about this for a long time, and jockeys is definitely an obvious way to go. However, we wanted to make this about the horse. And as soon as you add a jockey, it's no longer purely about the horse.
Yeah, no, I think so. And people don't collect jockeys yet.
Not yet. There could be that opportunity. And, we will be exploring other NFTs other than just the racehorse themselves. One of them, we've already started selling skins, and now we're starting to attach those skins to the horses so people can see them in the race and in their stable. I don't know if there's any.
And how do you think about that? Like, kind of beyond just the colors. Like, how do you think about the skins?
I mean,
it's such a cool building.
It allows each user to create a bit more of a individual horse for them, and I think with a lot of this, and the more stables that are established themselves, the more that they will want to create their own unique mark in the space, which they are in various different ways. But yeah, the ability to skin a horse, and it also allows us to create really interesting partnerships. So we've had Stella Artois skins. We've
yeah, totally. Like, I mean, Formula One or like any of this stuff, you kind of it almost makes the experience more immersive, in a way.
Exactly. Because we've got our partnership with Atari, so we've got these Atari skins which pay homage to some of the Atari games that we grew up with, if we were depending on our age. And then it opens up.
You've said too much, Geoff. Now we can take you. That's how I felt about the Super Nintendo. I was like, oh no, people will know that I'm not Gen Z. It's terrible. We've got to be very careful about that. The only references we're allowed to talk to about TikTok. Otherwise, people will know.
I'm only as old as my Decentraland avatar.
Damn right. What about other forms of racing? Like, how do you think about that? Or have you thought? I mean, I'm sure you have thought about it, but do you want to stay with the horses, or do you also want to add other sports? Yeah, how have you guys thought about it?
Yeah, we've definitely built a platform that could be, utilized in different ways there. And we've talked about porting this into other sports. Though
it's sort of a shame that you, with the car, you'd obviously lose the breathable element, which is so kind of just cool. Like there's something about it that's quite touching, that you've created these living beings, and they kind of, yeah.
You're,
If
you're
you were saying
100%
they
right.
don't decay, do
Mm.
they? How do they change over time, or like how do you, or are you thinking about that? I guess you wouldn't want to change things such that people are like, oh no, you changed my thing that I paid a lot of money for, all that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, from a breathable element, are there things that over time you can kind of add to it to, you know, some
We
kind of
are
outbreak of
yeah. I
something?
mean, while Zed is, firmly established in the NFT space, we
Mm,
we still feel like there's so much to do to take it to where we want to.
mm,
So you touch on a very good point. We have 28,000 plus horse owners.
Wow, that's a lot for like any NFT. I'm trying to think of an NFT project with that many mutual holders. That's not many, right?
And some of those users have like up to 400 horses where they've been really with us for a long time. And so while we want to continue to innovate and create, we have to be extremely careful about what we change, which is a blessing and a curse.
No, it makes total sense. I mean, you don't want to. There's that Vitalik thing about like, oh, we've got. I spent so much time on this spell, and then suddenly the game maker just like, removed the power of the spell on me, and I was like, I'm never going to play a centralized game again. So, that is a good thing to be careful with one's audience and kind of bring them along in the journey at every step. Super cool. Well, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see both more of ZedRun and more of other sports if you guys get into that. Maybe give me an example about the community that gets built around these horses and these characters.
Yeah, we believe the community is a really important part, and that's what that's a key ingredient to building these NFT projects. And we've got I think we've just hit 100,000 people in Discord. So while we've got 28 plus wallets, we've got all of these prospective users that are just interested and they want to get into the game, and that's why we've got so many in Discord. And we're continually looking at how we do lower the barrier to entry, because
is there almost a sort of Axie element to like, it's quite not expensive, but it obviously you have to buy something to get started. Like, is there something, or is there some of that tension of like, how low should we set that so that it's open, but at the same time we don't want to devalue getting a horse? Like, I don't know, I guess you must be having to think about how to balance those things.
Yeah,
which Geoff talks about, and everybody, Gabby talks about, and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Renting and lending, something that we are discussing and exploring internally.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and that definitely fits into that Axie model of where, you might want to have a go with one of these Z1s, but you might not be ready to make the investment, which we had a horse go for 100K the other day.
Congratulations. Was that a Z1? Is that what I'm understanding, that the earlier the generation, often the more valuable, or is that not the right way of thinking about it?
Yeah, typically. But as you saw with Ducky down there, you've still got that opportunity.
I've got OpenSea open right now, so I need advice on the right purchase strategy there, Geoff.
It's always interesting to go for an unraced horse as well, because then you have the ability to go on that discovery journey rather than someone doing it for you. Yeah,
that's super cool.
And so that is one of the areas we are going to take the game, is adding more discovery elements. So there will be a surface preference for the horse as we move forward, and then we'll be building that into the track. So a horse might be better on hard or soft, and taking some of those elements from the real world. We actually want to build in weather as well, but actually tying in the
Super
weather of the
interesting.
location and having that impact the outcome of a race.
It makes sense because that way it's not like affecting someone's investment in the NFT. We're like, wait, now you like made us, you know, you randomly assorted those things, but it still messed up my like horse in some way. But weather is a really logical thing that just adds a little more fun and like a little more, you know, this is real life and this is cool and this is unpredictable, and I love that. Yeah, let's go back downstairs. And is there anything else in the building to take a look at, or should we head back downstairs?
No, well, unfortunately, the DJ booth is not in action. Otherwise, we could have had a little boogie.
I'm dancing. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just dancing in my room. Well, I mean, I'd love to know how the hell you got involved in this, Geoff. Like, what is the story of someone? Is there some kind of traumatic backstory of like a horse that you loved and that died, and you were like, I don't want horses to die, and so I'm going to create immortal horses? Or what's the kind of how did you get started with this? Such a cool, but it is also a left field idea that somehow has become such a huge sensation. It's so awesome. But how did you kind of get into it?
Yeah, I can't take credit for the left fieldness of it. We have a left field thinker, Chris, CEO, and one of the co-founders.
Chris Laurent, right? Is that the pronunciation?
Chris Laurent, yes.
Laurent,
he would be happy to hear you pronounce it in the French way, for sure.
There you go. Oui, bien sûr.
So, yeah, basically, at the time that he came up with the idea, was he connected a few dots. He was doing some consulting work at a bet makers here in Australia. And they asked him to do some research into the blockchain space to see what potentially they could adopt within the business. And so he went and did that, and he presented them with all of these ideas, and they weren't quite ready for them.
They weren't ready, yeah.
But the ideas that he established.
You're getting pretty good foot traffic in here. I mean, this is pretty good for Decentraland.
Yeah, we've got a few random visitors come say hey.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Anyway, go on. Sorry, I was happy. So he presented it, and these people were like, "You're crazy. Nobody's going to care about a digital horse." But they'd never met us.
Yeah, well, there was a bit more to the story. So he'd done this research. He'd started looking into the NFT space. He'd stumbled on CryptoKitties, which we now know is that infamous sort of first project that established ERC 721s. He was, or is, living in the Hunter Valley, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours out of Sydney. But there's some, as well as lots of wineries, there is lots of stables and stud farms. And he was in his local Chinese, and there was a poster on the wall, and it was a horse with a price tag. He saw the price, and it was in the tens of thousands of dollars. And he was like,
interesting.
That's an expensive horse. And then he zoomed in, and it wasn't even to buy the horse, it was just to breed with it.
Wow, fascinating. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I love that. I watched half of a movie about a small Welsh mining town that all came together on exactly that basis, to kind of rent a horse to mate with, to breed an incredible new horse.
Yeah, so with his...
I didn't know that existed either. That's like, I guess that is a huge thing. People pool together like 50,000 because like it's just reliable to that. That's a really interesting thought, actually, to connect CryptoKitties to that betting. Like that's a really brilliant connection that Chris made.
Yeah, and then Zed was formed, and it started to get built towards the end of 2018, and then launch was at the beginning of 2019.
Well, it's gone so well. Congratulations. I mean, yeah, let's step outside for a second. How has that kind of 2 years, what's the arc been like for you?
Well, it wasn't smooth sailing all of the time. It definitely was not a linear journey to get to this point. We had some ups and downs. So initial launch 2019 was super successful, and we sold a lot of our Z1s, and then we sold some Z2s and Z3s and Z4s and so on. And we then started, like, that was just the sale of the horses. And then we started to build out more of Zed. So we introduced breeding, we introduced racing, and these were very much.
So at the very beginning, you were buying them as pure NFTs, and what, like within 6 months you'd launched racing, or like how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, it was about 6 months, but the team was really small. There was 5 or 6 of us, and so we were all wearing many hats. And yeah, we launched the first sort of MVP of racing in around August of 2019, and
so cool.
and yeah, it went well, but still numbers were low, like compared to what they are now. Like,
of course,
we had less than 1,000 users with horses, maybe not even 600 at that point in time. And then going into 2020, we were not able to pull together the budget to grow the team, because I guess the NFT space was not well established then.
Still quiet.
Yeah, and also we were struggling with the changeable gas prices on Ethereum.
Right.
And so there were points there where we were selling our NFT horses, race horses, and the gas to mint them was like $200 to $300. Just the gas. So that's the transaction cost on Ethereum. And because we were trying to make things more attractive, we were actually covering the gas cost. So the users only had to pay for the NFT racehorse themselves, which meant we were running at a loss there for a period of time. And then sort of late in 2020, we started to make the move from Ethereum to Polygon as the core blockchain for Zed, which enabled us to reduce the gas costs down to fractions of a cent. And then we started to see quite a big uptick in racing, and people started to really come on board. We started selling a few more digital.
People don't talk so
horses.
much about like layer 2. I mean, I've heard Geoff talk about how like the shift to layer 2 or to like no gas fees was like a massive change for them, and like that was kind of the beginning. I'm hearing you sort of say that as well, but it's not. I don't know that I've heard it that often. It sounds like that really. I guess if you want to have high velocity trading and like high velocity action, like you can't really do that with the gas fees where they are.
Yeah, it depends.
It almost precludes some games, but it's yeah.
It depends how like advanced your game is, because the more logic that you build into these smart contracts, the higher the gas cost to execute the code. So that's where the decentralized exchanges, they're able to kind of continue to go, because it's literally just exchange of currency. But when you're breeding, when you're racing, there's way more logic built into the smart contracts. So thus we had to optimize.
If you were talking to somebody in the audience who's considering building a game, would you say go layer 2? Because you just, if your game has any complexity at all and you want that complexity on chain, like you have to do layer 2, or what would you say to the budding Geoff of 2021 is whatever, just out of high school or something and thinking about it? What advice would you give them?
For now, yes, definitely look at layer 2 or side chains.
And it doesn't bother the users as much. Like it doesn't like, it's manageable essentially, because they're like, look, this is just the stress of like getting, because it is a little harder layer 2 to get one's head around other than layer 1, but obviously it works. Otherwise you wouldn't have all these wallet holders.
Well, the reason we picked Polygon was because it's still an Ethereum virtual machine backed blockchain. So you could still use MetaMask with it. So it wasn't a huge conversion for the user. Whereas, yeah, some of the other side chains or layer 2 tech does require you to perhaps use a different wallet. You've got the likes of Optimism and Arbitrum coming out as a different layer 2 tech for Ethereum, which keeps you closer to Ethereum. So we've got a bit more distance from it. It's really hard to give the perfect answer of what is the
of course,
ideal blockchain right now, because there's so many options.
We can kind of walk around as we're starting to wrap the conversation. I'll have a couple of pre-written questions from the audience as well. We can do some nice reaction shots to this cigar smoking banana. Are you a neighbor who's kind of like, what the fuck is this thing that's just like always looking at my beautiful imperial headquarters of ZedRun? You know, we've got to buy up this land and we've got to move this guy on. Or are you like, I love this banana, like,
how can you not love this banana?
I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, I want this thing gone. I want a full view. The banana is distracting people coming to my empire. Like, I would be very upset, but that's good that you. I mean, he is kind of cute. I also like the kind of watercolor effect. And like, it's high quality. It's done well, I admit.
Yeah.
But if you had to give us a banana a cigar, then this is obviously the designer that you would go to.
And a banana gun as well. Yeah. I mean,
that's very interesting. That's nice detail.
And you've got the yin and yang going on, you know,
evil. I mean, it's quite nice. He's done the eyes rather well, and it's a pipe. Interesting. That's rather kind of got the cigar lobby there. That's like the pipe. The pipe is a symbol of evil, apparently. I didn't realize that. Gosh. I'm taking my pipe out of my mouth right now and putting it out. Well, okay, breeding. So like that hasn't, outside of you guys and CryptoKitties, have you been surprised that breeding, and you'd correct me if there are other things that I should be thinking about, but it isn't, you know, there was that like mutant thing where you like use the chemicals and all that, but like, have you been surprised that breeding as a mechanic isn't as like big as you would imagine, since CryptoKitties like virtually created the NFT movement? Like it surprised me as somebody learning about the space that breeding isn't as big a thing. Obviously it makes total sense for ZedRun, but I'm just, why do you think it's not maybe as big for like Bored Apes or for other things? How do you think about breeding as a mechanic?
Well, I think it's that clear, or what's becoming a clearer distinction in the NFT space between the collectibles, which are purely for aesthetic reasons, and then those NFTs like a Z racehorse that is, you know, has utility. And
super interesting.
You know, as we move forward, the projects, I mean, all of those projects are amazing. And I love Bored Apes, as does many of our community. But I'm really interested about the utility or the breathable based NFTs, because
people have talked about that, like we're going to put the Bored Apes in a game, or we're going to put them there, but like really it's a little different to just the breathable idea as you guys see it, which I think is still quite unique, which is why I was excited to talk with you.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of, like, we recently, or just this weekend, we announced the partnership with Glue horses.
I thought horses were turned into glue. Isn't that quite an unfortunate name? Who the hell came up with that name? It's called Glue Horses.
Well, it's the Glue Factory show. So,
Glue Factory. Is that what I'm googling it right now?
Glue Factory show. So there
I searched horse glue factory and it was a little disturbing. So. The first headline is, what do horses, it's a very innocent headline, what do horses have to do with glue on slate.com? And it gets worse from that. All right, Glue Factory. What am I Googling to see this? Glue Factory show.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take a look. Interesting. welcome to the glue factory. There's a little YouTube here with some horses. Let's see. Well, anyway, you explain it. Move over avatars and making equine stars. This is interesting. Oh my god, there's a very worried-looking black horse with a. Oh my god, he's on the way to a glue factory. Okay, so these people have quite a dark sense of, which is good as British people. We like dark senses of humor. Well, tell me about this idea.
Yeah, so the idea around this is you can, there's 10,000 of these glue factory show horses that have gone out to market. I don't know if they're planning to put more out. And they're all like it's all generative art. So they've obviously pieced together different components of horses to create unique horses, not dissimilar to CryptoKitties.
Mm.
However, by owning one of these glue factory NFTs, the idea is as they move forward, they will have input into the creation of a TV comedy show, which is
interesting.
Very much can be a dark comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this picture of a woman sort of caressing this horse and looking very sad, and it's kind of, I'm getting the feels, but then also very comic too. There's a note from the collector's wife, which is very interesting.
Yeah, on you'll see on the website you've got different people from Hollywood who have created the initial concepts.
That's so cool.
Of which then these different horses that were generated have kind of blossomed from. I'm not sure blossomed is the right word, but
so you guys announced like a collab with them?
Yeah.
Very interesting. This is super cool. Will you play a role in this show, Geoff?
If they'll have me.
An enigmatic stable owner from England.
I was shopping around for my glue factory horse yesterday. I'm still I mean, I'm all for being on the glue factory show, and I'm trying to find a horse that best represents my COVID self, and my COVID/Z self, which is someone who's probably got a few more grey hairs over the past couple of years, definitely more open to growing his facial hair.
Yeah.
Drinks a lot more kombucha.
There you go. It's not supposed to be Gen Z over here. We can't reveal anything. Right? So, all right. I have a couple pre-written questions from the audience, and then we're going to let you go. Thank you so much. One is just how much does it cost to get started? So yeah, give us a sense of maybe that's constantly variable, how much the kind of starter pack is. You talked about renting, like if somebody wanted to get started right now, like how would that work?
So there are horses in the marketplace, which I believe you could pick up for just under $100 right now, which, does still seem like quite a significant investment. And as we spoke about before, renting and lending them, hopefully we'll be able to open up the opportunity for users to, just pay a couple of dollars just to get in there and have a race.
And just kind of learn how it is, learn if they like it and all of that. And then you've kind of already answered this, but, I guess it's just, when will we have Formula One and like all of that kind of stuff? So I guess you've already kind of said that it's something you're curious about, but not yet. Nothing right now.
No, we do have a partnership with NASCAR.
Yeah, I saw that, but I was curious that there aren't yet NASCAR cars or anything.
There's not yet. Maybe one day there will be.
Is NASCAR the thing where like the cars kind of hit each other?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool, man. If they were decomposable, breathable NFTs that kind of, like in that video game Burnout, where they started kind of getting knocked up, and that was kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's definitely something we want to explore because NFTs has very much been about capturing value, which maintains over time. However, like that opportunity to perhaps, trade in your NFT for a new one or or
There's
even
something
sent
there,
it to
isn't
the
there?
glue factory if it is a horse
No, I
that's
think
not
there's
really
something.
performing.
It's like those video games, like some other. Okay, you've now glitched back into space. You know how some video games, like, you get the crowbar and you kill 20 zombies and the crowbar is just as good as ever. And in other games, you get the crowbar and like you only get, decays over time. You have to kind of repair it or you have to switch it. Like, it's kind of interesting. Both are enjoyable. So you'd have to assume people will start exploring decay. Like,
Yeah,
as much as it sounds like it's bad, and you'd have to kind of start there. Otherwise, people would be like, "Wait, what? Like now you're making my things decay?" But I feel like psychologically, it could make it. It could be a win, or at least it could be viable as a way of doing things, and
yeah,
more breathable that way because it feels like there are real consequences to everything.
yeah. No, my tip to anyone there that's attempting NFT project with a community is try and get clear on these things before you start building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're now introducing cancer to ZedRun. The horse. Please make sure that you're checking your horses on a monthly basis, or else you could get some surprises and all of that. I mean, yeah, I love weather. I think things at that level probably feels like the best stuff to experiment with, so that it's not letting down someone who's invested a lot in what you guys have built.
Yeah.
Well, look, and you can tell from how much fun I'm having. I really, really enjoy chatting with you and Jojo, although we've slightly lost Jojo. I did see her over there by the giant earlier.
She's just keeping an eye on us from the distance.
Well, it's making sure the giant doesn't rush the whole proceedings and just take over. But yeah, I mean, so lovely to have you both. I don't know if there's anything you feel I should have asked or anything you think our audience might find exciting or interesting, but yeah, I mean, what a pleasure. You guys seem awesome.
Thank you for having us. It's been fun to show you around our headquarters and talk about Zed.
One of the best that I've ever seen in Decentraland. I've seen quite a few, and like, this is pretty damn good. This is up there, definitely. I love the animated horse too. That's some of the best animation I've seen in Decentraland, I think.
Yeah, I'll pass
just
on
a simple GIF of it. That was really good.
Yeah, I'll pass that on to the chief architect. He'll be happy.
Yeah.
All right, Jojo. All right, Geoff. Thank you very much. We're gonna now kind of teleport out into the limbo in which we live our lives. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.